You're listening to the Staging Sips podcast with Lori Fisher. This podcast is dedicated to helping real estate staging CEOs build healthy businesses that grow, flow, and thrive. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you've had a great week. I know I have, and I'm really excited today because as we roll into Valentine's Day at the time that this recording is going to be released, I want to talk about how we can love up on our employees. So how to show your employees you care in a really big way. So as you can see from the series, that this is the point in your business in which you morph from being the CEO of your business, the lead stager, the chief marketing officer, chief financial officer potentially, and you are heading into this realm of management and HR now as you go through a hiring process. And today, people are expecting more from their work experience and their employers than ever before. I think the pandemic has certainly shifted attitudes and, created environments where people can work hybrid or fully remotely, which, has created this mindset of like, yes, I want to be able to live my life and have more autonomy and be treated like an adult. So rightfully so. And, I'm really fortunate that I have been very lucky in the course of my first career in pharmaceutical sales to have incredible managers over the years and then sprinkled in with a couple of not so great. So I have the contrast, that kind of 50-50 of some really amazing, empowering managers and those that were not. And I can tell you that, and you probably have had the same, right? But I can tell you if you have not experienced that it is wild what we as humans do in terms of the productivity you'll get from us when we feel valued and appreciated and acknowledged as just people, not just people to carry out work, versus being treated with distrust and, mass oversight and all of that. So if I give you nothing else out of this podcast episode today, it is certainly certainly that there is a big difference in what you'll get from your team when you decide to just empower them to get their work done the way they get it done versus overseeing every tiny little thing that they do. But let's dive into a little bit of research, not just my own personal experience, right? I love following Adam Grant. If you're not familiar with him, he is an organizational psychologist from the University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School of Business. He's brilliant and he's got an excellent Instagram account if you want to follow somebody who shares data about how to get the most out productivity and best quality out of the people that are on your team. So the research has shown is that acknowledging employee contributions increases confidence, enthusiasm, productivity, a stronger sense of team, and just overall better results from the company. And I believe if that's the result we all want, I follow Brooke Castillo from the Life Coach School, and she'll say, what's your R line? What's your results line? If your results line is overall better results from your company, a great team environment, excellent productivity, enthusiasm, then this is definitely the podcast for you, because in acknowledging your team, obviously the research is showing that. So where do we actually start? If you've never brought on team before and you aren't really familiar with how you can begin to acknowledge and honor and love up on your team, let me just share some philosophy, a starting point, and then we'll share some real tangible things that you can do. So the first thing is starting with the philosophy of what you want your company to feel like for the people who work for you. I think this is really important. And this was one of the things that I had put together early before I even hired my first team member. I created kind of just my own little vision, core values for my team, what I wanted it to look like. So I wanted people to have a spirit of wanting to learn and love and kindness and creating a sense of zen, both for my team and our clients. So I created all of that. I wanted a little bit of quirky and joy. So I had created that kind of core values so that it helped me with my hiring process, but also so that I could share it with the team. And then we could use it as a barometer as we went forward in, are we actually as a company achieving that? Are our team embodying that? So we want to start there. And then the other thing that you can do, which I did not do, but I think it's really brilliant and really simplifies this process, is learning what your team's love languages are. So if anybody's familiar with that, there's like 5 love languages in relationships, and you can apply the same in work. And it's simply the way we're all unique in what motivates us and the way we like to be acknowledged and noticed. So there are 5. One of them is physical touch, which I'm going to leave off of here because I don't think that physical touch is appropriate in the workplace. So I'll give you the other four love languages, and then we'll break them down. So words of affirmation is the first one. Then there's acts of service. Then there's gifts, and there's quality of time. So I'm going to define those in just a minute, but I want to start back even one step further before we go into what are the ways that using these love languages you can begin to acknowledge and love up on your team. And I want to just start the whole process by saying, first and foremost, before we even start acknowledging our team, we want to acknowledge employee well-being and how important that is to your team in general. You want to, as a business owner, first set your own expectations to acknowledge that life can get in the way of your business. That as much as we, never want people's personal lives to impact our business, that's just really unrealistic. Especially if you've got a hiring profile where people tend to have families. And in my case, our team has family members. It doesn't matter how old they are. They all have family members. And at any given moment, things can come up. And in the moment, it can feel super challenging as a business owner to have to step in when a team member, for whatever reason, has a family thing that comes in the way of, whether that's an installation or if they are scheduled for any, a consultation or an evaluation or something like that. But I'm going to tell you, in the long run, if you rally and you pitch in and you figure it out and you get resourceful in whether that has to be to reschedule or, you yourself jump in on a project and maybe work a little bit longer, that goes a long way to show your team that you really do care about their personal lives. And, obviously, you want to make sure that that's not happening on the regular, right? So if an employee is a right fit and personal issues don't habitually get in the way of their job performance, then, work through the hustle and maybe the frustration or the annoyance and just look forward. If something appears to be habitual, then you're obviously going to need to reevaluate if that person has the schedule match for you because their schedule is getting impacted by their external personal life, then that's probably a revisit with that employee team member just to see what's going on and to see if there's a bigger issue that they may not be letting you in on, and maybe it means they need a sabbatical or something like that from the business. So that's the first thing I want to share with you, is that just things will come up. So, but we want to put their well-being at the very forefront, because that's another thing that research shows, is that when the company shows compassion for things like this, again, the team morale, the loyalty, and all of that comes in, just increases. And I'm sure, I haven't seen research to show this, but if you do have somebody habitually who is struggling with their personal life and it's impacting work, I am sure that can tip the scales into decreasing morale on your team. And that's why you have to monitor it closely to see if somebody is habitually being impacted by their personal life. So all that said, let's look at how we can celebrate and honor our team by going through those love languages. So words of affirmation is the first one. Some people just really love verbal acknowledgement in, any form. So it can be real-time acknowledgement of they've done a great job, right? So if you're on an installation with a team member and you see that they've done a great job, or if you're somebody who likes to check the photos or something after the day is done because you don't go on site, give them real-time feedback. You leave them a voice to text message. You can leave them, you could call them, you can slide dial them, but anything where they can hear your voice, just letting them know that you noticed what a great job they did. Or even if it's something like they took some initiative in their role responsibility and maybe they reorganized a section of your warehouse and it just is like amazing how they did it. Like, let them know that in real time. Give your client employees and credit in front of clients. So one thing that we do now, this isn't necessarily verbal, but if we've received a text message that, that somebody's really happy with what they've done, that always gets forwarded to the team member and shared with them. But I will also copy them into that text chain and say, thank you. Lisa couldn't have done a better job. Kristen was amazing. Eileen is the best, isn't she? Whatever it is, like we want to acknowledge that employee in front of the clients. You always want to, as the business owner, undertake the compliments and overtake or overhandle the complaints, right? So you want to make sure that you're protecting your team, because that protecting of the community is really important, and that will speak volumes to your employees. Social media comments. We get this all the time when a realtor posts, that a listing has, gone pending or sold really fast or whatever it is. And we put in the comments, we loved working with you. And then we tag our employee, knocked it out of the ballpark with your clients. She loved working with them. So we want to make sure that we're publicly acknowledging that and just having a general attitude of gratitude with them, right? It could even be a personal thank you note, handwritten or email or something, just to let that team member know that you have noticed what they've done. It goes a long way for somebody who's got words of affirmation as their love language. And by the way, this is something you ask your team. You can send them the love languages test. It's free, and they can let you know what came out of that, or they can just tell you if they know that they love, their favorite way to feel acknowledged and honored and appreciated is through these things. Very easy to do in your employee onboarding process. Forgot to mention that above. Anyway, acts of service is your next one. So acts of service is showing support in person. So this is you actually diving in when things need to get done. And maybe it's rolling up your sleeves on a project and doing the not so glamorous parts. My team always appreciated when I was on a vacant install if I handled the steaming, because nobody liked to do the steaming, especially in a hot house, unair conditioned in the summertime, right? So I would jump in and take on those non-glamorous parts, or if people didn't love hanging artwork necessarily all the time, I could jump in there. So that's something. Or if one time we needed, in the busy time of our season, this was a couple of years ago, we added on extra space into our facilities, and I went in and reorganized all of the lamp shades, all of the lamps in this extended space that we had, and tagged everything and left like a little gift for the team for when they came in on that next work week. And they loved it. They were so happy because, of course, as we all know, anybody who carries inventory, lampshades are the bane of our existence. So I had gone in and found all the matches, tagged them all, matched them all to their lamp bases, and everybody loved that. So for anybody who loves acts of service, that spoke to them, right? Helping to troubleshoot an issue or take something off of someone's plate if you have the time to give a hand. So again, one of those things is typically like restocking when things come back. not people's favorite thing to do, but super important and necessary to get that done so that you run a finely tuned machine. So occasionally pitching in on something like that, or maybe they have a lot of appointments on their schedule and there's something that you look at and you say, oh, you know what, I could handle that for them. Very occasionally, because as we want to be operating the company and kind of staying at that CEO level. But, there are times of your business where you probably need to be wearing a CEO hat in addition to all kinds of others. And so pitching in on something like that when you can goes a long way for that person who loves to be acknowledged with acts of service. Then there's quality time. So quality time, this is more like one-to-one interactions with somebody where they just, love having extra time with you. I have a team member, my lead stager, loves in-person one-to-one time. So we have regular face-to-face check-ins, whether that's just Zoom. Occasionally we'll grab dinner together, just have a girls' dinner together, grabbing coffee together. Those are kinds of things that really speak to people with quality time. But then you can also bring your team in on that too. So anybody who loves quality time, team building kinds of events, our team, somebody had mentioned roller skating and everybody was like, oh my gosh, that would be so fun. So we booked a time for all of us to go roller skating together. So, something like that. And I say the attendance should be optional for these things because I don't think that people need to feel like they're only part of the team and organization when they're, everyone's showing up to these things. Not everybody loves every team building event. So if somebody's not into, escape rooms or axe throwing or rock climbing or whatever it is you decide is a team building event, that is A-okay. And then we have special team building meetings inside of our business. We have something that we call Fab Friday, and Fab Friday happens every quarter, and it's a combination of personal growth, celebration, and education. So this is a time for us to honor achievements that have happened in the last quarter. It's time for us to dive into some personal growth work for the team, and then it becomes educational. So we'll cover a training topic, usually just something small, kind of a micro topic. And this is great because it leads to conversation about other training that we might want to get for the team and all kinds of other great, things that might arise for points of education for us. So if you don't have something like this, I highly encourage it. Our team really looks forward to Fab Friday. We bring in, tasty little treats and set the mood with candles and music, and we just make it feel really special. So that is great for anybody who loves quality time. And again, you'll want to be hitting on all of these, but you'll find that certain ones are more meaningful to your team. So we obviously in our team have introduced a variety of these so that we're touching on all of the kinds of love languages in the workplace. And then there's gifts, people who love gifts. So you can do this in a couple of ways. You can celebrate milestones. In our business, we send flowers to our team members for their work anniversary, which is the date in which they started, obviously, and their birthdays. But you can also send, flowers or gifts of any kind for those events or a promotion. You can send thank you gifts. So obviously I mentioned flowers, but sometimes it could be treats. Maybe you send, cupcakes or cookies or something like that. You can send branded items if you decide you're going to create branded items for your business. So whether that is, Yetis or, travel coffee mugs, I think those are the same things, but, or branded pens or folders or anything like that. And then you can also go through like a gift box service, which I recently did for our holiday gift giving. I used Box Fox, really fun. They create beautiful boxes, and I think the lowest price point starts around $30. You could send a knack box, Knack. That's another gift box service, but it doesn't have to be anything like that. Even it could be something so simple like, there's inspirational coffee mugs for, very little money over on Etsy or Amazon or something like that. Or it could be One year I gave my team little tool pouches as a gift. One time I gave them the scented candle for, a scent that I think is great for us to recommend for our styling evaluation clients. There's, in order to fragrance a house that might have strong scents in it that we're concerned they may not be able to clear. So you can get really creative with this. And even thinking about gifts we've sent to realtors that we work with, we've sent little succulent plants from Etsy. We've sent little desk placards. They don't have to be expensive or, gift wrapped or anything like that. Just something thoughtful and unexpected. This will speak volumes to your person whose love language is gifts. So I hope this has given you lots of food for thought about how you can honor and love up your team members. The easiest thing to make this happen is to create a system around it. So that could be as simple as, if you know that somebody loves gifts or you want to be a person who sends that, just create a system around it. Maybe what you do is you identify several kinds of gifts on an Amazon wish list that you can send out to your team. So when you're thinking, okay, I'd love to surprise them with a gift, you go into your Amazon wish list and you find all of, the things you may have saved that could be a potential gift for your team. Super easy. Workiversary is a very easy one to do. Remind yourself a week ahead of time, set an appointment on your calendar that it's about to be a workiversary. Put the link to your favorite florist, their website right in there, that appointment. So it's really easy for you to just go ahead and get that ordered. The more you create a system around it, the more likely it will get done because you've got it planned and mapped out. So I hope this helps. I hope when you start to implement these things, your employees love it in a really big way and boosts your team's productivity and that R line for you. Okay. So that is your sip for the week. I hope you have a wicked good rest of your week, and I'll see you in our next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to the Staging Sips podcast. If you love what you've learned here today and you want to learn more about how to market and grow your staging business more strategically, I would love to see you join us inside of the Rethink You mentorship program. If you want more details and get on our waiting list, you can go to rethinkhomeinteriors.com/waitlist. Looking forward to seeing you in the classroom.